Hey, Frankmeisters, what's going on this evening? Good to see everybody. How's everybody doing? Me? Thought I'd do it live since I didn't get a chance to do one on my own yesterday. I had planned to do one yesterday in regards to the mine decision, and I thought I'd go over it real quick with you guys. I'm pretty sure you guys have all read it, but I still got to do my part in that. And there was something else that was brought to my attention just a little while ago about an individual who's been attending the memorial walks, and we'll get into that. And then once we get done with the mind reading, uh, we'll just have an open discussion and talk about what the defense's next move might be, guys. What y'all's opinions are, what you think they might do, you know, situations that they're in right now. So let's give a shout out to the people in the chat. What's going on, Renee? Frosty, what's going on, buddy? Tina, yes, they do need to get this trial going, but I'm here to tell you, you guys got to be patient because we all know how this defense team's been working for the last 2 years. So anything's possible. They could pull any trying to kind of trick up their sleeve at this point in time. So we'll just have to wait and see. Roxy, Vivian Quarries, Metal Mama, Night Shadow, Purple Haze, Wild Card. What's going on, Melissa? 6-3 clocks. Gail Hurd, good to see you. It's hot down there in Texas still. What's going on? Grab it. Cindy, what's going on, Constantine? My Charlie, good to see you. Oh, Lord. There's the one that likes to talk a lot of smack to me, but tries to make jokes out of it. What's going on, Gibbo? Heather Marie, good to see you. Carrie, She Warrior, CJK, GP. Hey, lady. Haven't talked to you in a minute. How you doing? James Powers, Cecil Hotel. What's going on? Let's see. Rescue. There's my buddy. Rescue says, we're filling the house, Frankmeister. Come on in. Ron Logan. What's going on? Audrey. Truth and Justice. Good to see you. Phil Bond. Man, me and Rescue should have stopped through there yesterday when we was leaving Fort Wayne and grabbed some ice cream. I'm going through the chat. I got to make sure I get everybody. Mustang, good to see you. Jinxie, what's going on, young lady? Linda Harder, good to see you. Oh, let's see. What is that? Dove Magic? Ivy, it's good to see you. Julie, Scarlett. Well, I wish people would, my real last name, Shane, my original last name, I should say, is Kershawese. It's Kersage now. And the reason why it's Kersage now is my grandfather was a boxer in the Army in 1939. And every time he get introduced in the ring announcer wouldn't know how to pronounce his name. So he legally changed it from Kershawese to Kersage in 1939. And Kershawese is Lithuanian. So that's where my father's side of the family tree is Lithuania. Christopher Collins, good to see you. Right, Rescue? We were nearly on the road for almost 6 hours just driving alone yesterday. Red Queen, good to see you. Hey, There's always the replay. Totally understand. And one thing, hey, everybody shoot some prayers out to Kristen behind the crime door. She's not feeling well today. So if you please send her some prayers to well wishes to get better, it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. All right, let me get to the this document real quick and get it out of the way, and then we'll have a discussion, and then we'll go into the discussion about some information that was just dropped in my lap about 15 minutes ago by somebody in the chat, and I'd rather not say their name and put them out there like that, but it's something that needs to be brought to everybody's attention. So who did I just see down there? All right, give me a second, guys. Let me get this pulled up. Oh. Please settle down, dude. Lord. Where are you at? I hope I didn't download it. Motion in mind. What is this now? I don't think I downloaded it. But, I mean, we really don't have to read it, but we basically get the point of what Judge Gold was saying, that the defense can't bring up anything about Patrick Westphal, Brad Holder, Odinism, Ron Logan, Keegan Klein, Fields, Johnny Messer, and a few others. They can't use third party as a defense because they don't have a nexus that's actually tying them to the crime scene or to even in Delphi. Okay. But she did leave a room for an opening for them. If you read the document very clearly, she said, if you guys come up with something like a nexus presented at trial without the jury being present, and they'll decide right there before the jury comes back in. So that she left the door open for them to get something in there. And that now what they're going to do, we have no clue. We have no clue. But I've got my opinions on what might happen next. I mean, it's just my opinion, but I do want to hear from everybody in the chat. Is Frost, are you at work? Because he's been following real close too. Frost, Jinx, you want to come up? Jinx took hella notes that day too. So what I'll do is I'll put the link in the chat, and I'll get some people up here. If you want to come up, it's fine. But I want to talk about what your guys' thoughts are, what could happen next. If you guys are close to what I'm thinking, or if any ideas might be good to listen to. Going through the chat. 2 days in a row. What do you mean, Cecil? Elaborate for me. I'm kind of agitated right now after what I was told. Timmy Waring, good to see you. See, Melissa's already in there. So what do you guys think? Give me some of your opinions on what you think the defense might do next. We can have a big discussion about this. Hugh, good to see you. What am I going to say? I talked to a really good friend today, and she went over a scenario with me when it comes to the defense. It was just an opinion, and I was like, you know what? we've been saying that the defense, it's all about them. It's not about Richard Allen. It's about their notoriety and their popularity. Uh-oh, here comes Vid. Oh.
Hey.
Oh my goodness, what's going on?
Good to see you.
How are you?
Hey, I'm actually at a baseball game. We've got a stadium right down the street. It's just a fun time to watch. But Frank, if you don't mind, could I plug that thing I was talking to you about yesterday?
What's that?
So I don't know if anybody's heard of the story called Blackbird, but it's the true life story of Jimmy Keene. I've actually been in touch with this gentleman. Jimmy Keene was put in a maximum security prison, and they told him, if you can get the serial killer to confess to 16 brutal murders of young women throughout Indiana, maybe part of, Illinois, maybe part of Indiana, we'll let you go. Because otherwise he was going to be in there for 10 years.
Right.
So you got to watch it to see how it turned out. But I've been in touch with the real Jimmy Keene, and if I can get him 40 reviews by the time of Randy's walk on October 13th at 1:30, he's gonna come.
Okay.
He's gonna be yes.
Okay.
So
just send it over to my Facebook group.
Okay.
And then send the link to me. Send the link to me personally, and I'll upload it to YouTube.
Okay, I'll send the link to you, and it really just entails anybody who's got an Amazon account. This is free. This won't cost you anything.
Okay.
To go to, reviews. Look up this book called The Chicago Phoenix. Okay.
Okay.
And you click on that. Just click the stars to write a review. Just write something like, needs to be made into a movie. This book was great. Just say something nice. And he's in a series called Blackbird. He actually directed it. Tyron Edgerton plays, the role of Jimmy Keene, and Ray Liotta actually played his father. So unfortunately, that's what he was out filming when we lost Ray Liotta. So.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, just send those links to me, and I'll get them. I'll get them uploaded.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. And hi, Jinx and everybody. And I can't wait to meet all these new people to walk. It's gonna be great. So
all right, you guys have a good time. Okay. We'll see you next month.
All right. Love you, Frankmeister.
Love you too. Be safe.
Okay.
Bye-bye. All right, now getting back to where I lost track of where I was at. Oh, and she was explaining to me, what if the defense is dragging this out and is purposely trying to get this to trial? If they're trying to get a book deal, a movie deal, like Dateline, they have their crimes shows they have on there to get their names on there. There's just so many different things that could be happening while they're dragging this out. We just don't know exactly what it is. But I do believe that they are not in the best interest of Richard Allen. Even though we all know he's guilty of sin, they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. I take that back. They're doing a good job by delaying this whole damn case, but they're not looking out for the best interest, because I honestly believe that Richard Allen has told them, I want to confess. I honestly believe he has. Yeah, wasn't thinking about it at that point in time. Going through the chat, guys. Sorry I'm being so quiet. I don't use PayPal, Cecil. You can send whatever you want to my Cash App, which is right here. I've got enough debit and credit cards to deal with to try to keep up on, so I I try to limit as many as I can. Well, Melissa, we had to drive to Fort Wayne, to where the recorder's office is at, because it's apparent now that Judge Gold brings her own court reporter. So she does everything up there in Allen County. So we had to go up there and grab it. Then we had to drive 2 hours east to Lafayette to meet with Kathy Clendenning and drop the files off to her so she can get them scanned in and get them over to Marv over there behind the beyond the evidence, excuse me. Thank you, Gail Hurd. Somebody got gifted a membership. Grismatic, what's my brother? What's going on, man? Been a minute. You finally off work? I know you're watching football right now because I got to keep an eye on my phone for fantasy football. I got players in the game tonight. Looks like she gifted another one. Sorry. Yes, Gail Hurd is a sweet lady. I saw Frosty in here earlier. He must be at work. Yep, there's another one. The live did not end. I'm right here. You don't have to have Cash App yourself, Cecil. Joe Newman, Daily Survivor. What's going on? Good to see you guys. The Queen's in. Queen of Wason. Good to see you. What do you mean? I'm skeptical of going really certified. I need to know what you're talking about, Scarlett. Hey, I was on yesterday. Simulcast from Beyond the Evidence, Marv's channel. Defense next move, I would say, is arguing time of death. Bob might have made me think today. Hey, Grizzly, good to see you. I don't think. When I looked it up, and I looked up how the death penalty works in the state of Indiana, this is what I found. In order to qualify for the death penalty, give me a second. All right. State of Indiana, a prosecutor can seek the death penalty for a murder if they can prove that the defendant meets at least one of 18 aggravating factors. The prosecutor must file a request for the death penalty with the trial court and the Indiana Supreme Court services. The prosecutor must allege that the existence of at least one aggravating circumstance on a separate page from the rest of the charging instrument. At the sentencing hearing, the state must prove the existence of at least one aggravating circumstance beyond a reasonable doubt. Prosecutors can also seek life in prison without parole for offenders who meet at least one of the 18 aggravating factors. Here's some of the aggravating factors: intentional murder while committing or attempting to commit arson, burglary, child molestation, criminal deviant conduct, kidnapping, rape, robbery, carjacking, or criminal gang activity. Unlawful detonation of an explosive with the intent to injure. Lying in wait. Hiring or being hired to kill. Now, see, we've had this discussion many a times. We do not know what Richard Allen, his intent was when he went out there. We knew that he had some type of intent, but we don't know what. We can't say he was out there to intentionally kill somebody because we don't know that. We can't say he was out there to molest or sexually assault anybody because we don't know that. See, these are the kind of things that we got to watch out and be mindful of what we're saying. You can't, because I had somebody say, well, we know for a fact he was out there to kill. No, we can't say that. We cannot say that whatsoever. You know, until it comes out in court, the motive, just leave it be and just let it all play out is all I can say. We can have our opinions. It's fine and dandy. Everybody has the right to their opinions. And I welcome all opinions. Well, yeah, I honestly believe that too, Heather. They got 2 continuances to use, and if they really want to, they can follow the Supreme Court, the appellate court. But I don't see the appellate court even looking at it. I just see them kicking it back down to the lower court because she spelled it out plain as day in her order yesterday that she followed the law and the law is correct. You don't have any evidence putting them in Delphi or even at the crime scene. You're speculating. You can't use speculation, conjecture, or anything like that. Who's that, Sandollar? What kind of other charges are you thinking of, Sandollar? All right. I got some people that want to join me. Give me a second. Two lovely ladies. Just drop the link, guys. Louise, good to see you. What the hell? There, I dropped the link for all y'all. It's in there. Second time I dropped it. Like I said, you know, his best bet, Dove Magic, is best thing to do for him is to plea. Honestly, I mean, but then again, you got to think, what's his advantage of taking a plea? Okay, first of all, and honestly, I don't think Nick will even offer or even think of a plea. That's not even a thought in his mind, in my opinion. The way I've seen him present this case and all the hearings so far, this guy has got all of his ducks in a row. He's on his shit. From what I've seen so far, he doesn't put himself in the spotlight. You don't see him being interviewed. You didn't even see him being interviewed, but prior to the gag order. The only interview I recall seeing Nick is when they first put him on the case at the presser. That's when, oh boy, Robert Ives stepped down. Which was what, a year later, I think? Can't recall. Well, ladies, I've been waiting on you. I don't know where you're at. I'll drop the link. Oh, yeah? Yeah, there's Frosty. Well, I guess you ladies don't want to come up. I dropped the link like you wanted, Jinx. Oh, what are you guys talking about? Audrey, yeah, but we know where he stands, and he was careful what he said. I jumped to his live and he said he thought he would get torn apart by chat. I said, we don't do that in this chat. Yeah, we don't do that crap, man. He's a guest on here, on anybody's channel. You talking about Mata? Yeah. Badass American, good to see you. Brandon, good to see you. Oh, there's Shorty. I'm waiting on the other one. There's the other one. All right, we got Jinx and we got Ivy Push in the house.
Hi,
Ladies,
hi,
what's
my
going
little
on?
Jinx up there, you little angel.
Hello, hello.
What's going on, ladies?
Well,
Well,
I
they're
was just
all
calling filler air. If she's up here, I'm gonna get back in chat. I love you guys.
Well, it's
Yeah.
time to call out somebody. He's been two-facing with the family.
Who's that?
A gentleman that's been going to the walks. The last walk, we all went over to the ballpark, right?
Yeah,
And went to see Becky. A bunch of us went over there before we started to walk.
right.
Well, he was there, right there with everybody, kissing ass. Okay? And then Jinx just sent me this information. I said, oh, really?
Where'd Jinx go? She disappeared.
She got a mod to take
okay.
care of the chat. She can't be on her phone and do that.
Oh, okay.
And then she sent me this, and I'm like, oh. And I don't care if I call his name out or not.
Call it.
His name is Sean Bianchi.
I've seen that name a lot here lately.
He's been posting in the profs chat. He
Yeah.
posted this 16 hours ago. He said Gold doesn't want cameras in the courtroom because she doesn't want the public to see if the people at the trail and on the bridge that day will be on the stand to testify. She and the prosecution don't want certain people to testify because they may shoot a lot of holes in Ari's arrest. They don't want to put doubt in the minds of the jury. They want desperately to get a conviction, to not only promote Gold to the Supreme Court for getting a guilty verdict in one of the highest profile cases in the country, and because they wanted all this to be over because it has cost the state of Indiana and the counties too much money. They want a done deal, and let's move on to other things.
Well, first of all, I'd have to ask you if he's an Indiana resident, because I don't care if my taxes go, all of them, to this.
Mm-hmm.
Frank, everybody has an opinion.
I get it, though. What I'm saying is don't be fake to the family, right to their face.
Exactly.
I have a problem with that.
Oh, definitely. I mean, if you stand back and not call it out, there's a problem there.
Right.
These people have had so much thrown at them, and it's going to get thrown at them again.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, we've had many discussions about this, and I don't like the direction that this shit's going right now.
Well, we can take the high road and just call them out and tell them, hey, you can
it's not only that, but what we know the defense is trying to do.
Well, the defense has been playing the media every time, as I said, what they put out are media motions.
Yeah.
Meaning they got the gag order, but they're getting around it by posting their motions the way they do.
Right.
There were some big mistakes made there that should have been corrected early on, and I don't think it went down the path that it did. And as far as why she won't allow cameras in that courtroom, there's one or two reasons.
Well, we already know. Yeah, I know.
One reason is, and I'll call it out, Court TV aired prior to her order.
And they had the families on camera.
And the witnesses that were going to take the stand that day.
Yep, sure did.
And
it was live already.
It was not supposed to go live until after 30 minutes after it happened. Even though it lasted like 10 or 12, they still weren't allowed to post that for 30 minutes from the time it started.
Yep, I remember that day.
I know Barbara McDonald's planning on attending. All I can say is I hope she's one of the 5. She's going to put in her paperwork for Judge Gull to decide who are the 5 journalists she's going to pick to be in that courtroom.
I think you got to file for it.
You do. But there's a lot of local ones too, and I have a feeling she'll have a national one, but maybe Long Crime's better, personally.
I don't watch a lot of CNN. And there's a particular reason. I spoke with Susan today for about almost an hour today.
Great. She's so great. She's just she has not wavered her support for the family.
Right. And we got to talking about Vinny. And I said, look, Vinny is a former prosecutor. Why is he consistently having defense lawyers up there and he's the only prosecutor? And I noticed with him that he was backing the defense team for the longest. And I said, I just can't watch that. You're a prosecutor, dude.
Well, he's playing to an audience too. So and the thing is, you don't have to play to an audience. We don't have to play. I don't have to play to an audience. When I started that group and stuff, it was an intent to bring awareness to the case, put out what the law enforcement did give us and what the family needed us to do to get the word around. We don't owe anybody an explanation for what we do.
No.
But these families have been through enough, and every time, like the status hearing, I had told you, Frank, I don't think we're going to be a public one. In fact, I had you call up to Allen County and see about a decorum order on Thursday afternoon that hadn't been put out. And I knew then, but I did not go up there with just the intent of going to the meeting. It was to show support for the family. So, did we do that? Absolutely. And we got to spend some time, and there was no discussion over the case. And
see, that's what these other bozo, the clowns, whatever you want to call them, seem to think that just because we have a good rapport and relationship with the family, honestly, I consider them friends now. As long as I've been socializing with, we don't talk about the case. We made that very clear from day one.
Yep.
And I mean, we'll discuss the documents. She'll ask me, what do you think this means? Or, and I'll explain what my thoughts are on documents and stuff like that, So, I mean, that's basically as far as it goes. Me and Mike really don't talk a whole lot because he's just too busy and he don't like the social media scene.
I don't know. He can squeeze me awful hard. I thought he was going to break me in half still.
I remember a couple of years ago, Mike came home from work and she told me, she said, Mike, look what I got. And she had a stack full of documents that I had sent her. And he said, where the hell did you get those from? He said, Frank. He's like, who the hell's Frank? And then she told him, she said, oh, okay, that's where you're getting all this shit from.
And I know, like on Thursday, you weren't there because you got kind of sicky. Started to get sick on Wednesday. But I am not kidding you. Once his wife and mom left the courtroom, he was on edge. Like, my God, I thought, is he just going to stand up and say, I did it, I'm guilty, take me away?
See, and I feel like that he's been doing that to his attorneys and they're allowing him to do what he wants.
Well, he can still write a letter to the judge if he chooses. So,
but it's got to go through his attorneys.
No, it doesn't.
No, it don't?
No, he can write a private letter to Judge Gull.
I wonder if he has, and we just don't know about it.
Well, we won't know. I mean, the status hearing was, I do know that there needed to be some clarification on a couple orders. Normally, what you would have there is a in-chambers meeting.
Right.
And that would be with both sides. But since the big October 13th blow up and the defense crying, well, our client wasn't even with us. And then they used some of Judge Gull's emails in their motions.
Private emails is what they weren't supposed to do.
She's not going to email them no more. She emailed them instructions on how to use the system step by step.
I mean, come on.
And there'll be no in chambers meetings anymore.
Just to avoid any of the crap that happened.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So, but the thing is, I know there was people that traveled far away, but if you're there for the right reason, and it's to support the families, like many of us are, that's the gamble we take, I have family. I get to see them when I go back. So, but I'm down in the Keys right now, and if I get notice that we're having hearings next week, I'll be on a plane and
What?
headed back.
Yeah. My schedule's wide open now.
Yeah, yeah. But I do look for a continuance. If they ask for a continuance, I do look for her to give one more.
Yeah, I do too.
And I'm basing that off the Sarah Boone case. Sarah Boone went to court on Tuesday. If you're not following that case, it's out of Florida, and she put her. This is wise, girls. Let pay attention. They were both drinking, her and her boyfriend, and then she put him in a suitcase and forgot about him and went to bed, and he died in the suitcase. And so she's kicked off 7 or 8 attorneys. Well, she now has an attorney that's completely free. He stepped in and she agreed to let him. Well, they wanted to change the date again of the trial. And the
Right.
judge put his hand down and it ain't changing again. So it's on for October. So for those who want to watch a televised court, I suggest, that one will be on court TV and on Long Crime. So if you want to watch one that's televised, because Judge Gull, I will stand by her. I don't feel like if these were my little girls, and I would not want that out there
Right.
in the public. And a lot of people know that I am working with our state legislators that would make it punishable for anybody that would get a hold of crime scene photos that depict minors or even any victims, or a coroner report with photos or the wording. It would make it illegal to possess those and sell those.
Right. I'm
And
just going through the chat. Sorry.
I've been working on that for over a year and a half, and so it's finally they wanted to put some teeth to it, so I had to go back through the attorney part of it. So, and we all need to do that. We need to look out for the families, even long. I mean, there's never a complete closure. I hear that a lot, but it's a new chapter. They turn a page, and it's a new chapter, and there's still, well, what ifs. Anytime you have a child that's unfortunately taken away from you suddenly, in any event, those don't go away, unfortunately. But I know you're in it for the right reasons. There's many of us. Um,
And too bad there's not more like us. You know what I mean?
yeah, and I don't want anything. I mean, there's a group of us that have been there from day one, and that group is pretty tight knit, and it needs to remain that way.
Oh, I got a warm welcome into your Facebook group today.
Oh, I know it now. We're sending me, is that Frankmeister? I said, well, yeah, okay, yeah, that's Frank.
I was like, damn, thanks, guys.
Oh yeah, no, they follow all that. I mean, but a lot of people would rather. I mean, they do have very intelligent conversations in there. The one thing I draw the line at is, well, it plainly says no family, anything about the family, but you can have a meaningful discussion, and at the end of the day, just agree to disagree at the end, because in the end, it won't be our opinion. If this goes to trial, it'd be up to the 12 men and women that sit in that jury box.
Badass American.
Yep, that's exactly who it will come back on. But
Badass Americans asking, does Alan still have his iPad? I would imagine so, but who would be putting money on his books like these cuckoos?
I did speak with. I'm not sure he does. I did speak. That was the Department of IDOC. And that would have been left with his stuff when he left that day to come up to the 3-day hearings. He would not have had that with him. I did talk to Kathy and his mom, Janice, and he's not even allowed mail.
Right.
They cannot mail him no packages, not even a letter. He's in a restrictive housing unit there in Cass County.
Yeah.
In their new one. And there was more said but we'll discuss that at a later time.
Okay. Good.
Some of it, but we will discuss that and move on from this. But I just want everybody to just send your positive thoughts and prayers to these families, and
right.
unfortunately still got a ways to go, and I
Yeah,
know.
I don't see this case in October. I see it in the late spring. Honestly, I do.
Well, they run in circuits, in 4 circuits in Indiana. They're cycled. They're like there's like a spring cycle, a summer cycle, a fall one, and a winter one.
Jinx says she wants to be just like you when she grows
I
up.
I just love Jinx. She's just a cute little spitfire. I like her. So, but I mean, I've got some really good friends, and I think we've all made friends through. I hope Libby and Abby can see the friends that they put people
Oh, you
together,
best
complete
believe
strangers.
they are looking down and said, "Look at
Yeah,
all these people that are backing us."
yeah,
I can just see it. You know.
yep. And we'll let the evidence lay where it is. Not one of us knows how much evidence Shane has. I mean that Nick has, and
Right.
I will tell you that is a strong team. And what I witnessed in those 3 days was it seemed like Baldwin was just a mess. Things weren't,
He's lost leadership of that team. Is what's happened.
well, he's not chair one. Rosie's chair one. Rosie had a higher rating in the death in the rating thing. He's chair two. But they've lost that connection. There's almost like there might be inside bickering going on between the three of them or the two of them, because you will see that Baldwin has a really good connection with Richard Allen. That's very,
That's
very evident.
evident. Yeah, exactly. We've seen
And
that at the hearings. You know.
yeah, and then when Allen was walked out the side and he tried to reach for his wife, one of the guards grabbed
Yeah.
his arm. And then the next time he tried to bend down and give his mother a hug,
And
and
they snatched him up
they
again.
snatched him and put him against the wall that time. So, it's not our fault. I didn't put myself there that day. And of all the filings that's been filed, not once have they listed an alibi of where he was.
And we need
With everything that they've put out, that the defense has put out, you would think they'd put out an alibi.
Right. Well, they tried to change. You know that. Remember when they tried to change the times
The
he said it?
time,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Well, it's
but they
hard.
still didn't give an alibi to where he was after the fact.
Exactly.
You know.
He left when he came, it pretty well says. So I don't think that's the case, but there's evidence. There's also, as you release some of these transcripts we got, it, some important people, Cicero really got to me, and that's he taught.
Harshman got to me a little bit too.
Harshman was really good at his job,
Yep.
but Cicero broke my heart, and I can still not sit down and put his words to paper like I usually can do, because it broke my heart to know that there was 18 minutes of time that Cecil, who had been on prior, Detective Cecil, there was 18 minutes of time the girls were walked from the time he told them to go down the hill
Yeah.
to where they last moved, because Abby had an Apple Watch on that tractor.
Yep.
Her steps, a health watch.
Yep. The step counter on it. Yeah.
Yeah, and he didn't count the steps. He didn't bring that paperwork. He just brought the minutes that the watch was moving.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many different scenarios right now that we can think of with the defense.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I'm falling back on what we've watched happen in the last 2 years. I wouldn't be surprised if they filed with the Supreme Court. We know that it goes to the administrative assistant before they'll decide if the justices will see it. But once again, Judge Gold nailed it right on the button in her order that you guys read the law. You didn't meet the criteria for any of these people to be involved in the case.
No, there's 3 names that would have a nexus, and but not to Odinism.
But there is no nexus to them being in Delphi or even to the crime scene. That's the problem.
Well, right. But what she was shooting at too was the Odinism stuff, because my fear was they're gonna, any part of that gets in, or if I mean, Nick has to be really careful with what he does, because if he opens up the wrong door and lets that in,
He's been letting the defense do that
I know
themselves.
it. I know it.
A prime example is June 23rd of last year when Rosie just stood up out of nowhere and said, "Well, my client's making these confessions under duress and mental anguish," and I'm like, "Oh shit!" He just opened the door for Nick to jump all over that.
He certainly did. Yeah, I tried to tell people what I heard, and I think you believe me, and I think the murder sheet believed me when Gallipo was talking about the written confession that was wrote to him, and I thought, huh, I'm just waiting on this guy to stand up and start saying I'm guilty. I did it, but maybe it'll come to that. I don't know.
Rescue says, Ivy push. I can't even attempt to read my notes from Sister Rose's testimony. I was so devastated.
Yes, I agree. It was. I had.
That's
Thank
the
God
day I didn't go.
I brought a jacket into the courtroom, a lightweight jacket. I had to take it off because it was kind of cool in there, but I had to have something to bury my face in, and the snot that was rolling out of my nose. So it's like, okay, cover your face.
Scarlet Letter says, we keep focusing on paragraph 7, which are the onus, but I'm curious to why Nick didn't want geofencing out, wanted it out, because it's not accurate.
When you only have one tower that you're bouncing off of,
yeah,
your geofencing is not going to be triangulated very well.
Right.
I mean, as I can attest to, and you probably can,
Yep.
when we would have a break, lunch break, take for example, it would take me at least 15 minutes to be able to use my cell phone until the other ones got off.
Right.
And there was no getting on the internet. There was no making no phones unless you had AT&T and yours connected first.
There were points in time when we were on break, we'd be out in front of the courthouse. I would have to move around down the sidewalk to even get a signal at one point in time.
Yeah, so you can imagine that tower and the things that night when everybody was looking for Libby and Abby. And that's what we need to keep in mind. This is about Libby and Abby.
Right.
These two little girls were friends. And we cannot let all the nastiness and the hate overtake the case, because that's not what Libby and Abby were about.
And another thing about the geofencing, Scarlet, is that it's only accurate up to 200 meters. I did some researching on it.
Right. The Google one is different than the one that they have.
Right.
And so there's two different systems for geofencing. And the one gives you, which they don't have, and there's no way they can go back now and do it. And I think if you guys would read even Down the Hill book, or you listen to the podcast, you can come up with 3 different people who all had phones around the girls during that time.
Right.
It wouldn't be that hard. But, we'll just have to wait and see. And maybe the families won't have to sit through a lot. He did give a motive. They did say that. Harshman did tell us on day 3 that he did say a motive as why he did it.
I had a friend of mine today contact me. I can't say his name, but he got the documents and he did a summarize for me and sent it to me. So when the time is right, I'll go over the documents all in a summarized. We're not gonna. Yes, it's all going to be summarized. He sent me a spreadsheet, everything.
It's like we cannot ever lose focus of what's important here. Granted, he needs a fair trial, but is he being fairly representative? Well, apparently is. He wants them as his attorneys.
There we go.
So let's roll with this and see where it goes. Everybody's saying, well, the appeals, he will get an automatic appeal if he's found guilty. That's that's just automatic. And Rosie and Baldwin will not be the appellate attorneys.
No. And, I was doing some research on the death penalty thing. And trying to find out who was qualified, Rosie or Baldwin. Well, I found the Indiana state list of attorneys that are state qualified for death penalty cases.
Yeah, unfortunately, they don't keep that updated. So,
well, I'm going to do some research. I'm going to call my attorney tomorrow.
I'll tell you who you can call.
I'm just going to call my attorney and have him look it up.
Okay, well, also if you contact the Indiana Attorney General's office, they'll send you a list.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not very many. We don't have very many death penalty case attorneys. In Southern Indiana, they'll use a lot of come out of Louisville.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of crazy how it's spread out, but like I said, we can't lose focus of what's important, and there's going to be a lot more, but you know, as long as we stand by those families, send thoughts, you know, positive thoughts and prayers, and be there for them, that's what we're going to do.
I'm getting back to old Mr. Sean Bianchi. If he's at the walk, I will say something to him. Believe that.
Well, we won't be on court property, so go right ahead.
Yeah, I'll say something to him. I mean, I don't like the fakeness. I honestly don't.
Well, okay, somebody brought up that name 2 nights ago, and they said, "Why do you keep changing your name?"
I got a picture of him, and from one of the walks, he's walking with Randy.
Yeah, just send it to me later.
All right, we'll do.
I'll be on watch for that one. But anyway, thanks you guys for all joining in, and let's just think positive. We got these families cannot be weighed down. I mean, I can only imagine their hearts at night are so heavy, and their thoughts of always going to be with this, but we can stand up for them and by them.
Yes, ma'am, you're right.
But it's been nice talking to you, Frank.
Well, you know, I'm more likely.
Hey.
You know, more than likely I'll hear from you tomorrow or vice versa.
Oh, yeah. We'll talk.
All right, hon. Thank you.
All right, have a good one.
You too, hon.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. Rescue says Abigail, Joyce, Williams, Liberty, Rosalind, German. Say their names. Support their families. Justice for Carrie, Mike, Becky, Kelsey, Ann, Cliff, and Diane. Let's see, Constantine. Frank said earlier, neither are death penalty certified. Frank can use verify. Yes, I can. I will call my attorney tomorrow and have him check into it. Because the list I pulled up that has them for Indiana, they're not on it. So there's been questions about it. So I took it upon myself. I'll get on it first thing tomorrow. No, it was Greenhouse not on the walk. His name is Sean. He's using the name Sean Bianchi in chats. And he's been going to several of the memorial walks. Well, the last one, we all took a trip over to the ball fields before the walks and went and saw Mike and Becky, and a bunch of us went. And he went. And, you know, don't go if you're against the prosecution and what they're doing. That means you're against the family, period. I know you probably want justice for them, but the way you're going about it is the wrong way, dude. I mean, you don't go doing that crap at the walks and then turn around and post this kind of crap on, you know, how do you think they're going to feel once they find out about this? Because I'm not afraid to let them know, hey, you got an individual that's being two-faced around you, so you need to be careful. I don't have no problem with that. I'm here to protect the families and get the word out, justice for Abby and Libby. This tragedy has affected this town to the point it only feels different when you go there now. I've lived, worked, and camped there in that area for years, and you can feel it when you go. I definitely really felt it. When was it? One of the 3-day hearings, me and Jinx went over to the office tavern, office lounge, whatever they call it, just to get a pop and a water. While I'm standing at the bar, everybody's just looking at me. And I said, yeah, you recognize a new face? And they said, yeah. And I said, well, I'm here to attend the hearings for the Delphi case. And they said, oh. Like they didn't even really care anymore. You know what I mean? It basically felt to me like they just want to get it over with so they can move, the town can move on. Let's see. I mean, technically, Shane, yes, they do, but there will never be closure, period. I mean, I hate to say it that way. They can move on with their lives, but it's always going to be there. Yeah, I mean, a lot of us poke the holes right in their Frank's motions right out the gate. Poked holes in it right out the gate. Scarlett, she's the actual one of the administrators. I think she created the one of the people that helped create that Facebook group. Well, guys, I've been about an hour. Is there anything else you guys want to discuss before I close down for the night? Excuse me, guys. But I will tell you what, y'all need to give some props to Jinx short stuff in here. One of my mods. This girl has come a long way since I first met her. She really gets into the research and the deep diving now, and I really appreciate it. And I'm glad to see her grow when it comes to the community and the floor four angels also. She's really put a lot of work into that. And don't forget, October 13th, 1:30 p.m., the prayer walk for Abby and Libby at the Freedom Bridge parking lot. Trying to get as many people out there as we can for the last one before the actual trial starts. We need to, I know that Becky and Mike know that they've got a lot of support when it comes to the community on YouTube and Facebook and all the social media accounts, but I would like to really show them in person with as many people as we can to show up for this. Last year, the last one we had about 40 to 50 people there. I'd like to see it grow double this time. Yeah, that's his alibi on the bridge. But remember, now he's changed his story. He was there from 12:30 to 1:30. When he first said 1:30 to 3:30. His father was already deceased. Badass. His adoptive father. Yeah, everybody go check out the Florida 4 Angels Memorial channel. Hit that like button, subscribe to it. Jinx and a couple other people are usually updating that channel every couple days or so. Yeah, y'all need to hit that like button. Thank you, Rescue. I do this for you guys. I also do it for myself because I enjoy doing this. You know, I like to bring the news to people the best I can. You know, we got a lot of great people in this community, guys. Oh my goodness, Angel Bear, where have you been hiding, lady? I mean, me and Kristen had a run-in at the last one, or was it the one before that? I can't remember. One of Richard Allen's friends from high school and his wife was there. And he was disagreeing with everything. He said, "So you show me exact evidence." And I'm like, and this is before the confessions come out and all that stuff. So I wonder what he's thinking now. Yeah, we all have to at one time, Angel Bear. There's no doubt about that. How's your channel going? You still running that? Badass. Something was mentioned today during the third day hearings. I thought he went home, then Kathy came home later that day, but I may not be remembering correctly. I wasn't there on the third day. Okay, Rescue. Thank you. It was the April one when we had to run in with Richard Allen's friend from high school. Well, we're at the hour mark, guys. It looks like I've covered basically what I wanted to cover. I didn't really read the limine, but I knew what it was saying in there, and I basically got a photo memorized in my brain. You know, don't forget what Judge Gold did. She basically left the door open for them to try to sneak something in to use as a defense, but we got to watch out what's going to happen, because if they're going to do it, it won't happen until when the trial starts. But it's going to be very interesting between now and then to see what's going to happen. We don't know if they've been talking to Richard Allen about, hey, we're in a corner here. You know, what do you want to do? Do you just want to change your plea or whatever? You know, situations like that are happening right now. So, but then again, I do have to explain to people once again, this will be the last time I'll explain it. There's a difference between a plea deal and a change of plea. Completely different. So, and I don't think Nick McClellan is going to offer a plea agreement if the defense comes to him. I just don't think it's going to happen. The smart thing for him to do is to stand up in court and change his plea and let the judge decide. Even though she'll take recommendations from the state, the prosecutor, but 9 times out of 10 she goes off her own knowledge. But nevertheless, if he pleads guilty or whatever he does, he's found guilty, the dude is never getting out of prison, ever. Ever, 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 ever. Period. So, but I want to thank everybody that came out tonight. My mods, Jinx, Rescue, Randy, Gravit. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to the people. Oh, Gail Hurd with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gifted memberships, and I got 7 gifted memberships and Grismatic $2 super chat. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. Somebody said something down here at the bottom. Yes, very much so, Gail. Love them to death. We all been working together for the last couple of years, so and it's going to continue to stay that way. We might have our disagreements, but we always work them out. That's just the way it is in life, period. But thanks, everybody, once again for coming out. Until next time, guys, you know what time it is. It's peace out, one love. Good night. Love you guys.